Hi, welcome to Skip's Corner, where I cover Nashville's baseball history and events and introduce you to players, coaches, and other fans. I want to tell you about a popular Nashville player who had a special baseball pedigree. Now, he was born on April the 4th, 1929 in New Orleans, and his name was Harold Joseph Gilbert. But he received the nickname Tookie by his brothers, Larry Jr. and Charlie, who had successes of their own in baseball. And they named him Tookie by the way he pronounced rookie, the name they called him as they were growing up. Now, Larry Jr. would pass away of a heart ailment in 1941. But their father, Larry, played for the 1914 Miracle Boston Braves and became a legend as player-manager of the New Orleans Pelicans and co-owner and manager of the Nashville Ball Club. The young Gilbert became a left-hand hitting first baseman phenom in high school in New Orleans and in Nashville amateur leagues. He had all the tools. He was a good hitter with power and was a skillful first baseman. On October the 13th, 1946, in a room at the Hotel Monteleone in New Orleans, his mother pulled a slip of paper from a hat, and written on the slip was Giants, giving the New York club signing rights for the young player. His father had suggested a price be set for the playing services of his son and announced the plan for the drawing in their hometown. Gertrude Gilbert determined the maximum bid would be $50,000, a surprisingly low price for the young star, because he excelled at Jesuit High School and in American Legion ball, and several major league teams were interested in signing the promising young slugger. The New York Giants scout Mel Ott, George Digby of the Boston Red Sox, who lived in Middle Tennessee, Harry Jenkins of the Boston Braves, Mike Hauser of the New York Yankees, and Ray Kennedy of the Pittsburgh Pirates attended the event. And when the Giants' name was called, Ott immediately signed Gilbert to a contract and announced the 17-year-old would be sent to Minneapolis of the American Association. He added that at the 1942 World Series, he asked Mrs. Gilbert for Tookie when the boy was only 13 years old. The Gilberts are people baseball should not forget, Ott was quoted as saying. They're the most unselfish people I've ever known, and I sure feel happy about getting Tookie. And it appeared Tookie was destined for the majors and the New York Giants. Beginning in the 1947 season with Minneapolis, he was sent to Erie of the Mid-Atlantic League later, where he finished the season with a .333 average. And in 1948, he played in Sioux City, where he had 26 home runs, batting .299, and his dad found a place for him on the Nashville roster the next season. The senior Gilbert had retired from managing after the 1948 season, but remained as general manager. And even though Nashville was an affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, when he asked the New York Giants to allow Tookie to play for the Vols in '49, they allowed it. And the first baseman helped to lead the Vols to the Southern Association Championship by slugging 33 homers and hitting for a .334 average. Now, on July the 6th, he became the 14th Nashville player to hit 3 home runs in one game. And out of those 33 home runs, his home run total should have been 34 because in a game on July the 28th, 1949, in Nashville's famous Sulphur Dell, the ballpark that was oddly shaped with a short right field wall that sat on a hill 22.5 feet above the playing surface, he lost a home run due to a poor judgment by the umpires. Playing against Birmingham in the dimly lit setting, Tookie's blast off righty Jim McDonald easily cleared the right center field wall, and center fielder Norm Coney even stopped when he saw the ball go over. But the ball came back onto the field. Oddly enough, it had hit a city bus parked outside. Then it rebounded back into the ballpark, and when the 3 umpires consulted, ruled it a triple. Now, called up to the Giants in 1950, the youngest Gilbert debuted with a 3-run homer and a single against Pittsburgh. And he played in 113 games for New York that season, but his batting average was an anemic .220, and he was sent down to Minneapolis for 1951, where he regained his batting power and hit 29 home runs to lead the American Association while driving in 100 runs in 145 games for the Millers. The next season, in Oakland of the Pacific Coast League, he stroked 37 homers and drove in 138 runs in 177 games. It appeared the star status that had been expected of him was back in gear, and he was called up to the Giants again in 1953. Stuck behind 1952 All-Star first baseman Whitey Luckman, Tookie started in a handful of games, but appeared in only a total of 70. His best game was on May 17th in St. Louis, when he had 3 singles and a 2-run home run for 4 RBI, but his season totals included only 27 hits and 3 home runs. Tookie Gilbert never accomplished the greatness he had hoped for, and after contemplating leaving the game over the winter at his home in New Orleans on February the 13th, he announced his retirement from professional baseball. "This hasn't anything to do with the Giants or anybody in particular," Tookie said. "It's just that baseball's too funny to depend on, and I got to look ahead. I've got wife Jean and Harold to worry about with another baby on the way. I guess I could make out like I'm going for a long time, but I've got to look ahead. When I came home this fall, I was disappointed." He went into the paint business, but the tug from baseball remained, and after an almost impossible length of retirement before making a comeback, Tookie played for his hometown, the New Orleans Pelicans. In 1959, he had not played at the professional level for 5 years. Even on April the 15th, 1959, he blasted 2 home runs as New Orleans defeated Nashville 8-1 in the Pelicans' home opener. On August the 30th, he hit his last professional home run in Memphis against the Chicks, giving him 22 for the season in 142 games. He added 80 RBI and a .261 average to his totals, but at the end of the season, he hung up his spikes again. Gilbert was elected sheriff of Orleans County in 1962 and re-elected in 1966. He passed away on April the 23rd, 1967, in New Orleans of an apparent heart attack. He was only 38 years old. He was buried at Lake Lawn Park Cemetery and Mausoleum in New Orleans. Well, there's the story of Tookie Gilbert, rhymes with rookie, from a great baseball pedigree, the Larry Gilbert family. And sadly, he passed away at a young age. But he thrilled his fans, and he was a fan favorite in Nashville with a great season in 1949. Hope you enjoyed this segment. This is the first podcast episode for the second season for me, and I'm grateful for that first season if you've listened in, and I hope you'll listen in again soon. Thank you.